Donald Trump did a bonkers, delusional, dangerous, etc. interview with Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino was a Fox News host. He's since been fired, and now he's doing something, the Dan Bongino show. And he brought Donald Trump on to that show and asked him about the Durham report, or the Durham report was brought up. And we talked about the Durham report. If you're interested, you can go back. The video has to do with Tommy Tuberville saying, let's don't have elections anymore. So you can find that on the YouTube channel. But it didn't expose what MAGA promised us that it would. John Durham took issue with aspects of the investigation and all that, but the criminality and this massive stealing of the election, or any effort to steal the election, or political bias, all of that just did not get exposed, and MAGA told us that it would. We had all these individuals, including Trump, who promised us this was going to be the scandal of the century. And quickly, before we dive into this clip, just in case you don't want to have to go watch that clip, let me just really fly through my last YouTube video, fly through what the Durham report is. The Mueller investigation into the Russian government's interference in the 2016 election, and specifically possible coordination between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. That was done. It ended up finding that interference did happen, and many Trump campaign officials had problematic and concerning connections with those associated with or in the Russian government, but there wasn't, that could be uncovered, a direct coordination between Trump, his campaign, and Russia in an effort to intervene in the election. But Russia did do that, and the Trump campaign obviously welcomed it, was fine with it. So that made the right very angry. Trump, his attorney general, William Barr appointed a special counsel. For the last 4 years, the special counsel, John Durham, has been investigating the investigators. He's been investigating the Mueller investigation to see, was this all just a big op? Was this just an attempt by the Democrats in coordination with the FBI to take down Trump before the 2016 and after the 2016 election? And all of that wasn't the case, but Trump must have read a very different report, and this was his takeaway.
Just a couple more questions. I know you've got to run. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. We're hoping you're going to be the next president of the United States. Now that you've experienced the FBI interfering in multiple elections, this is indisputable at this point.
Which elections? What?
Can we get a promise from you for a house cleaning? The minute we get in office, don't wait. We don't need the first 100 days, just the first 100 minutes. We need everybody gone who cannot pledge allegiance to the Constitution and pledges allegiance to the Democrat Party first.
Well, after looking at the report and after seeing, and don't forget, I did a house trial. I fired a lot of people, but the deep state goes deep. Hey, firing Comey was not, that was, and I fired him very early. A lot of people said, why did you wait so long? He was fired very, very early. And it was a great firing. I'm telling you, they were looking to do real bad. This was a coup that they were looking at. These are sick people. So, the only a fool would...
A coup, he's calling it. What? You had a guy who had prosecutorial power, John Durham, who took 2 cases to trial, and both of them ended in acquittal. He had 1 plea bargain. But 2 cases to trial, both ended in acquittal. He could have charged people if there was a coup going on, and could have, if he could have provided evidence to support those charges, convicted people. He had that power. Again, if he had the evidence to back up those claims, and he had years to do it, and he couldn't. You got a guy who is credibly accused by many of being politically motivated himself, being pressured by William Barr to find certain results for Trump, and he wasn't able to do it after years of investigating. How is it a coup?
Would not do that. You have to do it deep. Not only there, you have to do it in a lot of other locations. But, this continues. I don't know if you know, but we have a friend of Weissman, a very good friend of Weissman, it is Jack Smith. And his wife hates Trump, and he hates Trump, and they've campaigned against Trump. They spend money against Trump. Their friends hate Trump, and he's the special counsel. I call him the special.
Is Trump having some sort of an episode right now? What's happening? Why is he all of a sudden talking to him, talking about himself in the third person? They hate Trump and the wife hates Trump.
Persecutor, not prosecutor. Persecutor, because persecutor is worse. But Jack Smith, and he continues to go after Trump with the phony boxes hoax. And if you take a look at Biden, Biden's got boxes all over the place. He had no right to declassify. I do. But you just take a look. Jack Smith, this is a continuation of the same hoax. It's all a big hoax. They're all friends. Yeah. They're in there. They're embedded. And it's really a question. It's rhinos and it's Democrats, radical left Democrats. I love the way you start your show with the radical left. You fight the radical left.
You get the point. So, sorry, I've hit my mic so many times during today's show. It's what I've mentioned previously in today's show. There are so many people who just are perfectly acceptable, following people who celebrate their own ignorance and choose to create whatever reality they'd like. The reality that is not so important. The reality that should be, or they would like it to be, or they fabricated, that gets to be the one. And so after a very real world situation where Trump was president, his attorney general got to get a special counsel and put pressure on him to find certain things, and the special counsel tried 2 acquittals, released a report, didn't even accuse the FBI in the report of being politically motivated, just took issue with the investigation flaws there. And there are some, when you go over that investigation, there were some mistakes made, as happens during investigations. But if there were all this evidence of what you're talking about, Trump, it would have been uncovered. But then he says on True Social, I was being framed by the FBI and the DOJ. Now it continues with the boxes hoax, the perfect phone call in Atlanta, the Manhattan DA, and the New York State AG scam. What a group, but all report to the DOJ in Washington. It's James Comey and the sleazebags all over again. They are playing election interference in 2024 through illegal law enforcement against Republicans, in particular, your favorite president, me. These are cheating lowlifes, but we will win. Our country is going to hell. I will say, quickly, it's the left who is constantly accused of hating the country, right? We've heard this many times. And they will say so often, if you don't like the country, get out. And I think that's a horrible sentiment. And they will always say criticizing the country makes you less American in some way. Kaepernick protesting, whatever. Different left-wing movements we've seen, they've said this is un-American because by criticizing a part of the country, you're saying, in a sense, that you hate it, which I don't think is an accurate conclusion to take. I think a sign of loving something is caring about making it better. That's what I want to do with this country. I want to make it better because I do love my home, this country. But that's always the accusation, right? Constantly. Trump is always saying things like this. Our country's going to hell. He's always saying that things are horrible. All these parts of our country are garbage. And he can do that. That is him criticizing and saying he wants to change parts of the country, which is his prerogative. But why not apply that to everyone on the part of the right wing? They go to rallies and hear him do that whole section where he talks about how everything's run down and it's all terrible and it's all going to hell and we're a third world country, he'll say. And then they'll turn around and hear a left-winger criticizing a part of the country and say, if you hate so much, then get out. You're not patriotic, right? No, loving your country is wanting to make it better. Now, I think Trump would make it a lot worse, which is why I don't support him whatsoever. But there it is. So many false claims. If you can even imagine that coming from Donald Trump.